Okay, welcome. My name is Buffone, as you can see on the screen. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of a great group of you patriots. In this presentation, I'll be going over how to protect your assets, talking about precious metals. But first, I believe it's equally important to go over how we actually got here and why we're even having this talk in the first place, and what we can do now to protect our freedom and for us and for our future generations. We now live in an era unlike any previous. We're witnessing our leaders taking America down dark paths and certainly not looking out for our best interest. In fact, we now have been led in a new era of war. Next slide, Steve. There it is. We've been witnessing our leaders taking down America. In fact, we're now being led down a new era of war, financial uncertainty, and volatility in the markets. We have seen the U.S. fiat dollar being challenged by the BRICS. We have the CBDC, digital tokenization, and we're at the door of a tyrannical social credit score system that will impose control upon people like we've never seen before in history. Advancements in technology has also led to advancement in control and peering into our lives. We need to take steps to protect our great country, our great republic, and our God-given freedoms. Next, Steve. Freedom is not free. It came with a price and still comes with a very costly price and sacrifice. I'd like to say thank you to all the people that have served in this nation to fight and die for that dream, the American dream. Now that dream has been taken over by rogue politicians on both sides of the aisle, courts and judges, world organization, rogue teachers, rogue leaders, elected officials, and not elected officials looking to control us, forcing their will upon we the people. And now, with further overreach, looking to give our sovereignty to global health organizations and unelected leaders. This evil seeks to divide and conquer. Men versus women, race versus race, Republican versus Democrats, Libertarian versus Independents, religion versus religion, and a culture war that has been degrading societal values, the American family, and pushing an ungodly agenda. Next slide. As Americans, we need to unite to defeat this enemy that has divided this great country. United we stand, or divided we will fall. These tyrannical people believe that they are our master and can openly impose their will upon us. They do this because they are counting that most Americans today don't know the Constitution and they don't know God. In our Constitutional Republic, our government is not our master. It serves us. Every single one of you. And the only authority it has over us, we the people, is the power that we relinquish to it. We have the Constitution, and the Constitution is still the highest law of the land. In order to be free, as our founding fathers intended, we need to teach it, we need to preach it, and we need to defend it in order to live freely. Hey, we need to have a choice. We need to do this actively. So I'm telling you all to be active, be bold. I know that it's not popular. There's a lot of people scared to actually speak their voice in fear of being canceled. But, you know, it's speak now for your future and your generation. Outside, next slide, Steve. Give me one more, Steve. Thank you. Outside of the mainstream control narrative, I believe that the majority of the people on both sides of the aisle don't want this agenda. And just as it is their goal to separate, to divide, and to conquer, our goal needs to be to unite, to empower, and to awaken the sleeping giant of the American people. Next slide. Our nation has always rose above those who have tried to destroy it. Our great leaders of the past were always willing to put America first as they understood its values, its virtues, and unprecedented freedom that it represents. They negotiated understanding the fragility of freedom. It's not our republic that has failed. It is our elected officials that have failed our republic. And now, we the people need to stand up for what we believe in. Next slide. It was John F. Kennedy that said, and I'm not going to do it in his accent. So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is not subject to proof, is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us, instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. With good conscience and only sure reward, with history as the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth and lead the land we love, asking his blessing, asking his help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own. Notice JFK asking God for his help, for his blessings. It goes to show you how far we have actually gone. I pray every day, and I pray that you do as well for this great nation. Next slide. It was Ronald Reagan that said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States when men were free. Next slide. Now we are seeing this happen in our schools. From children to grammar school through college are all being taught socialism. This is insanity. Yes, students are being taught, or should I say indoctrinated. Not all teachers are doing this, but those who are teaching this agenda are treasonous. The enemy is here from within and has been for years indoctrinating our children within the school system, indoctrinating the masses with a coordinated narrative of the news, social media, ever so subtly, where the people don't even realize that they were actually being taught the lie that they now believe and that they actually now live. We need to resist the enemy, stand peacefully and firmly for the ideals that make America great. Next slide. Fear is the enemy's tool. We're being conditioned not to speak out, or we'll be targeted, defined as intolerant, and then being canceled. Whatever you don't speak out against, you choose. You choose to accept it by default. So your silence is acceptance. Don't be silent. Be bold. This cancel culture agenda is a direct violation of our First Amendment constitutional God-given right. All of this groundwork is leading forth for a social credit score and a social credit system, and by their own words, in which you will own nothing and be happy. What is truth? Quid est veritas? It was Pontius Pilate, before sentencing Jesus to death on the cross, who asked this very question. Without truth, you can only live the lie that these evil people created. We need to stand up for our great nation and for our American God-given rights. Our rights are not endowed to us by our government. Our rights are endowed to us by our Creator. Yes, our Creator God. Next slide. Perfect. We're on time. Fellow patriots, you most likely heard of this quote to determine if we have liberty or tyranny. When government fears the people, there is liberty. When people fear the government, there is tyranny. Now ask yourselves, do people fear the government today? Seriously, we're there. In our constitutional republic, not democracy, are the leaders acting on your best interest or theirs? Are they standing up for your rights, your freedoms, your interests, or their own? Are they part of we the people's agenda or the one world global agenda? Next slide. It was President Lincoln that said, "We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution." Now our sovereignty is being challenged within the financial system. The fiat paper dollar, which once enjoyed financial stability, has fallen because of our unsound practices of printing it over and over and again, rendering its current worth of pennies of its original gold-backed status of the past. Ask yourself, is this by accident? No, it's by design. This plan was in the works for many years, and JFK paid the ultimate price with his life in 1963 when he wanted to expose this plot that was going to enslave every man, woman, and child. After he gave that speech, he was dead 6 days later. Let me see, did I put up slide for Kennedy? No, I didn't. Okay. Oh, Henry Kissinger, he's evil. Here's Henry Kissinger who said, he controls the food supply, controls the people. Who controls the energy, controls whole continents. Who controls the money, can control the world. You see how our foods are under attack, our energy, social, this, everything's created. So notice control the money, and you can control the world. So how do we stand up? How do we fight this agenda? There are many ways, but perhaps the simplest and most effective is to start with this. Learn the Constitution and live it. Always exercise your freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and live it. Don't hide your faith, practice it. It doesn't matter what your religion is. Jewish, Christian, Catholic, it does not matter. Protect your freedom of speech and religion. And now you can also protect your assets using precious metals. Next slide, Steve. Free and fair elections in our republic is a cornerstone of freedom. I urge you all to vote in every election and to hold it to the truest and highest standards and integrity, taking all steps to eliminating fraud and illegal voting. It is important to vote in every election, but I believe that it is equally important to vote every day with every dollar that you spend. Yes, that means even the paper fiat dollar and even the plastic system. Whatever you spend on matters, and how you pay matters as well. Are you investing in companies in the stock market owned by globalists that are trying to take away your freedoms? Or are you supporting your fellow patriots, local businesses, and using money like precious metals? I remember hearing a story about a Native American boy who went to his grandfather, the Indian chief, and asked him, "Grandfather, which one of those wolves on the hill would win in a fight?" And the chief looked at his grandson and said to him confidently, "The one that you feed." Are we feeding the wolf that wants to destroy us, our American values, our American nation, our freedoms, or are we feeding the wolf that's trying to protect us? Choose this day who you will serve. Next slide. Again, one of the ways we vote every day is to spend within our values. You vote every day with every dollar you spend and the type of currency you spend. This leads us to the big question. So how do we spend precious metals? Spending gold coins, silver dollars, junk silver, gold bars, silver rounds, credit card style golds with break apart pieces, all have its challenges and are not standardized. These inconsistencies are not favorable for being realistically used. Holding monster boxes of silver that weigh so much is not easily stored, and it's not practical. Spending and using gold and silver has many challenges. I've been looking at many different solutions and companies for years and finally found one that is aligned with the principles of freedom, integrity, liberty, and hits all the markers to thrive and even grow in these trying times. Next slide. Give me one more. Thank you. Let me introduce you to the UPMA and some of its benefits within the UPMA platform. Yes, you can buy and hold physical gold and silver from them. You can buy gold backs, which I will talk more about later. You can vault it, utilize it, and all protected in a non-profit private trust. Private trust. The UPMA only uses American legal tender gold and silver. This is a legal currency recognized by the United States. All other metals are not legal tender. Inside this private network, with a secure member portal, you can manage your account privately. You can transfer and receive precious metals from merchant to merchant, people to people. So if everyone in this room is a member of that, I can transfer any amount of money or gold to you and anywhere else privately. Fund a debit card with your precious metals for daily purchases. Physically hold and use and spend gold or spend and use gold backs. Again, I will talk more about that. You can vault and store physical precious metals. You can do gold and gold back leases, not only protecting your investment securely, but you can even earn anywhere from 2 to 3.5% interest payable in gold backs in a secure lease. I will talk more about that in just a bit. Next slide. Okay, there. A gold-backed lease is a 90-day lease paying you 2% to 3.5% APR in gold backs monthly. That rate is determined by the amount of the lease. The more money that you have, The more goldbacks that you have, the higher interest that you earn. You can enter a lease for as little as 100 goldbacks, which goldback today is worth about $4.50. So I'll give you an example. 100 goldbacks, you get 2%, 7,500, 2.5, 30,000 goldbacks, 3%, and anywhere over 75,000 goldbacks, 3.5% payable every month. But it's 3.5% APR on that. Next slide, Steve. Another massive benefit you can do with the UPMA is to set up a trust. Your UPMA account is protected by a revocable living trust. By default, this protection covers everything in your account, but you can also choose to add protections for your outside assets, like a house or land that you might own. No matter the amount you open your account gives you access to this service. So opening an account for this service alone is a no-brainer. If you're looking to set up your own trust, and if you don't already know this, Guy T here in our audience does that. He's a member of the Folding Chairs and teaches the Constitutional Law Group. He's definitely a wonderful asset to us. Next slide. I once subscribed to the mindset that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Yes, like paper cash dollar, I believe in having some precious metals on hand. It's important. Additionally, we talked about goldbacks and the lease. That is a legal currency accepted in New Hampshire, Nevada, South Dakota, Wyoming, and Utah, with potentially Texas and other states currently in the works. So that is legal currency in those states that you can utilize. I don't know if it's ever going to happen in New York. Don't hold your breath. Inside the UPMA, you can have your precious metals fully accessible and at the same time have it securely stored in a vault away from crime, theft, disorder, unrest, and lawlessness. We have seen in the news a wave of violence and crime and a proliferation of tyranny, including the lack of border control, which led to this newly formed organized crime and multinational gangs, which have been coming up and robbing businesses and homes. Yes, in this very area. So it hits everywhere. You have most likely seen videos on social media teaching illegals how to squat and take over someone else's house. Now imagine how that lady in Queens who called the police because of squatters in her house, she was arrested because she was trying to protect her property. Wow, trying to throw illegal squatters out of her house. Now imagine if she had gold and silver in that house or hidden somewhere around, stashed away, without having the ability to protect her assets. Because of theft and, crime is finding its way here in our area, holding gold and silver comes now with a greater risk and greater concerns about having it stolen. Speaking of having it stolen, when buying gold and silver coins on other exchanges, you pay market price plus a fee, sometimes around 10% or even higher when you're buying and selling. It's called the buy-sell spread. There can be such a large buy-sell spread creating such a loss factor, and that's a part of the reason why a lot of people don't like to invest in gold or silver. Because, I got to lose 10% when I buy it, I sell it, I lose 10%. Next screen. The UPMA has a zero buy-sell spread. You heard it, zero. You buy it at that price, which is the premium because the coins are the coin price, and you sell it at that premium, so there's no loss. That spread is good for $10,000 a month because of legal reasons, I believe. You can exceed the $10,000 zero spread per month limit if you need be, but you would pay a premium at that point. But it's still smaller and less than any of the other exchanges. You can always take your precious metals out in the form of gold, silver, goldbacks, or fiat cash. Your choice. The UPMA is the best and only sound solution that I use and trust. The UPMA has a hard paper record backup in case of cyber attacks and gives you peace of mind in case we lose the world currency status or the currency collapses because of the BRICS, reckless spending, or printing of money, the CBDC, and the New World Order agenda. The UPMA gives you full access to your money and the flexibility to lease it, trade it to gold, to silver, to goldbacks, to a credit card, or to fiat paper money, member to member, all so as you choose, giving you complete privacy, flexibility, and security. Next slide. Perfect. Who here is familiar with Angel Studios? God bless. All right. Angel Studios is a Christian organization that puts out movies like The Chosen, His Only Son, The Shift, Cabrini, The Sound of Freedom, David, and so much more. When I found out that Angel Studios took their popular cartoon series, The Tuttle Twins, and entered into a partnership, creating a cartoon featuring the UPMA goldback and the history of gold and silver, I was in. I was 100% sold. Angel Studios is a company with integrity, promoting truth in Christ, and that's something I can stand behind. So if they did something with the UPMA and goldbacks, I was in. I wanted to put my money with the people I trust and faith-based organizations that are trustworthy and with values that align with mine. So I jumped all in on the only sound money bandwagon that I know, and the UPMA. Here's a short video that Steve's going to hopefully play. It's of the Tuttle Twins. It's 6 minutes. It should be quite interesting. Steve, are you ready to play that?
Dark Dumpster Derek returns! Sponsored by Goldback!
You know, when my doctor told me I had worms, I don't think this is what he meant. Worm burglar.
Wonderful to meet you again.
Your puns are trash, and not in a yummy way.
Ouch! You missed!
I never miss.
Wish I could stay, but I've got to worm my way out of this one! Taxi! Step on it.
Money first.
Got change for $1 million in gold.
No, I drive taxis.
Oh, why does gold have to be so awkward to use for everyday purchases?
Hi.
Oh no.
And that is why gold is garbage money.
Grandma, you can't call cut. This isn't even your movie.
Okay, gold is garbage money? Which one of you geniuses wrote that line?
Me! I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a genius, but I would yell it. I'm a genius!
I was being sarcastic.
But gold hasn't been used as money for a century!
And it's so expensive. How can gold be good money if none of us kids can even afford it?
I can afford it.
Two voices live inside of me.
Oh boy. Derek, take over. The ninjas need a mini episode about gold.
Can someone get me out of this worm costume?
Sea rats.
No painting of George Washington! It's just us again!
Oh, yes, the turtles. Sorry, I drank the seawater.
Georgie, my grandkids think gold is bad money. Seeing as though you're literally on the money, what do you think?
I think we should row, rats! Row! Other way! Ever since ancient times, societies have used gold as money. Gold is valuable because it's rare and hard to mine.
Fun fact, even with today's technology, only about 1% more gold can be mined each year.
But if gold is good money, why don't we use it today?
Oh good, bread. I'm starving.
Heads up.
But even a single gold coin is way too valuable to be used for shopping. One gold coin could not only buy the entire bread cart, but an entire boat full of grains.
But couldn't they just divide gold into smaller, practical pieces?
Yeah!
Oh, I see.
That's why the Founding Fathers and I put our country on the gold standard.
The gold standard?
The gold standard! Basically, we agreed to use paper money backed by gold.
Oh yeah! Yeah, we learned about that. $1 represented a dollar's worth of gold.
Exactly! We never printed more paper money than the gold in our vaults. Gold gave the paper money value and protected it against inflation. But unlike gold, paper money was easy to divide. And it's worked great ever since.
But hypothetically, what would keep the government from just taking us off the gold standard and printing as much paper money as they wanted?
Nothing! But that would be incredibly stupid! Inflation would rob everyone of all the value of their money! Oh, can you imagine?
Yes. Bye, Georgie.
How is this directing?
But if gold is so expensive and hard to divide, how can it possibly be good money?
One option is this.
Whoa!
It's called the Goldback. Real gold, finally divided into usable bills. Sponsored by Goldback.
What? How?
Sponsored means a company pays to have their product in this
No, I know what that means. How did they make these?
With state-of-the-art technology, gold is deposited atom by atom onto a sheet to make a Goldback. Each Goldback contains 1/1000th of an ounce of gold.
The chemistry.
Since Goldbacks are made from actual gold, their value rises with inflation, unlike the dollar. And because they're divided into such small amounts of gold, anyone can afford them. You don't have to be old to own a little gold.
So a kid can own gold?
And in 5 different amounts.
That's so economical.
They're great for small purchases and can be accepted by small business owners around the world. Plus, while supplies last, we'll give you a free Goldback with the purchase of any graphic novel box set. Huh?
May I?
Go ahead.
Yes!
What do we want? A new director! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? A new director! Now! You don't pay us enough for this garbage.
Here you go.
What is this? Trying to buy our loyalty with stupid inflation-resistant yet also divisible, super convenient money? Can I have 2? And 1 for my dog.
If it weren't for you meddling raccoon, and also the lack of convenient and easily divisible gold currency, I would have gotten away with it too!
And that's why justice is best served gold.
Curse you, dark dumpster Derek!
I'm already cursed with good looks. All in a day's work for Dark Dumpster Derek.
We hope you enjoyed that episode about gold and goldbacks. I'm Daniel Harmon, creator of Tuttle Twins TV show, and this is Jeremy, creator of Goldback. I was a fan of goldbacks long before the show as well. I actually bought a bundle of them when they were around a value of, I think, $2, and now they're worth over twice that, so yeah, I love them.
I love the idea of using gold as a form of hard money, but gold was never able to be split into small enough pieces to be practical or affordable. Using today's technology, we can make gold small enough to actually use in a grocery store.
1/1000th of an ounce. That's way small.
Super small.
Yep, and very usable.
It's way tougher than a dollar. But it's not edible.
My brother was the first one that introduced me to goldbacks, and I thought they were so cool. First off, they're shiny and pretty. I love that. But then I went to a conference and I brought some goldbacks home to give to my kids. And it was the best gift I've ever brought home from a business trip. They loved it because they finally had gold that they could have in their own piggy banks.
Gold is a great form of money. Birthdays, allowance, stocking stuffers, long-term savings, tooth fairy.
The tooth fairy needs to keep up with inflation already. Start paying gold for teeth. So let me raise some questions that our audience might be thinking right now. How do I know that there is 1/1000th of an ounce of gold in this guy?
We actually have a third party test the gold. So these are other people, these aren't us. And they'll take a sample of goldbacks from every batch and they melt it down in a kiln and they can measure the exact amount of gold and authenticate it that way.
Now, are goldbacks catching on? How many people actually own goldbacks?
We believe that there's over 1 million people today that own goldbacks. And it's been growing exponentially for about 4 years now. During that time, the value of gold has doubled.
Impressive.
It could also be that the dollar has lost half of its value during that time period.
Depressing. How do you keep people from counterfeiting gold backs?
For somebody to counterfeit a gold back, you're looking at about $10 million worth of equipment and about 20 years worth of experience before you can make anything that even kind of looks like a gold back. And then they gotta, deal with all of our anti-counterfeiting features and all the anti-counter features that we're adding every year.
Another question might be, where can I spend my gold backs?
That's a great question because we really want people not just hoard them like a dragon, right? We want them to go out and spend them and use them as money. And your best success for doing that is with small business owners. And we're finding that about 30 to 50% of small business owners are taking payment in gold.
That's quite a bit.
It's way higher than we thought.
Last question. Let's say hypothetically that there's a bunch of wars all over the world, and then there's a nuclear bomb, and the grid goes down, and the internet, and the Federal Reserve burns to the ground. Can I still spend my gold backs?
If you survive, sure.
Okay.
We've been spending gold for thousands of years. We're dealing with inflation here in the United States, but in some countries, it's over 1,000% inflation every year. And you better believe that people are using gold in those countries. The reason why Goldback is doing this partnership with Tuttle Twins in particular is I really love your guys' mission. What you guys are doing is so important. My kids watch Tuttle Twins. In a big way, we're investing in the future. We're trying to educate the younger generations in true economic principles. Normally, we sell through precious metals dealers. The reason why I want to do this with Tuttle Twins is because I think it'll really support the show in a meaningful way, so we can get more seasons out for more people to see.
Thank you.
Time to make it rain?
Oh yeah, heck yes, let's do this.
Was it cute? It was a cute cartoon, but I thought it was, very explanatory. So facts on the UPMA. It's a nonprofit bank, for lack of better terms. Did you hear me? That's set up as a trust within its members. Let's go over personally holding physical gold versus vaulting and holding gold with the UPMA. So the advantage of holding physical gold, you physically hold it. The disadvantage of holding physical gold are you physically hold it, which means you need to protect it, secure it, and make sure that security is going to be a major issue. Where do you store your gold and silver? Not many here would trust the safety deposit box, especially when banks bail-ins and bank failures are more and more prominent. You can store physical gold in your house, but it can easily be found in a backyard. I know people that do that. They hide it in walls, hid it in cabinets, cereal boxes, or some other secret hiding spot. For those of you who think criminals are stupid, you're sadly mistaken. Yes, there are common smash and grab thugs. However, organized crime is a lot more sophisticated. These illegals and their newly formed organized crime gangs understand that people store their precious metals this way and has sophisticated ways to find it. Many of you have probably seen shows with the people on the beach with the metal detectors, and they can say, oh, look, there's a watch underneath there, and 2 feet in, they dig up and they got a watch. They can tell coins literally from that metal detector. Today's metal detectors are very sophisticated. Do you really think it's not possible for these criminals to go into your house and use technology to find your gold and silver? The answer is yeah. So what happens if something happens to you and your loved ones don't even know where your metals are hidden? This happens a lot. Most people don't, put all their eggs in one basket. I'm certainly in that category. It's not the way to live, wondering if someone's going to steal your gold. Steve, let me see where we're on the slides. Let me see the next one. All right, we'll leave it there. I don't care. So, Steve, look for the slide that says a network of trust. Precious metals are hard to spend, and how do you break apart pieces of gold, silver? Yes, you can use junk silver. Yes, you can use silver for small purchases as well. But how do you know the silver you're going to be receiving is real? And how do you know the person that you're trying to trade with believes that your silver is real? That problem only gets amplified when all the random gold and silver that's out there with so many counterfeits. Keep in mind, if the monetary system collapses, trust levels certainly don't go up, they go down. Also keep in mind, crime will also escalate in that transactional level. So many scenarios where things can go very wrong. Why would you want to put your family, your loved ones at risk? Think about it. If you're paying gold or silver, even if it's in small purchases, you don't think that person thinks that you're buying someone from, knows that you have more stashed away somewhere else? Now imagine they have nefarious thoughts or intent. We've all seen this in movies about the Wild West with our precious metals under gunpoint and with harm to people and families. The other thing is there's no wealth building, no investment potential where your money can earn interest with holding these precious metals. Again, the UPMA offers a lease that can pay you 2 to 3.5% annually in kind metal, not in paper fiat dollar, in kind metal. So you get paid in metal. The UPMA has addressed all of these issues and have given you the very distinctive advantages over owning and holding your own precious metals, which you still can do with them. Why? Because you own your precious metals with security, stability, and on a platform like none other, addressing all concerns while giving you sound, secure, stable money solutions with real investment opportunity. Next slide. The UPMA members can use precious metals to pay or transfer member to member, member to merchants, merchant to merchant within its secure private network, again, away from prying eyes. The UPMA members can use precious metals to be placed on independent debit cards, which can be used for all purchases within the current monetary system. So yes, you can use your gold, silver, gold backs to purchase groceries, supplies, make your debit card payment option of everything if you want. Basically, whoever a Visa debit card is accepted, you can use it. Your precious metals are vaulted in an earthquake-proof building with multiple points of energy redundancy. 21 points of security between the front door to the vault door. All your metals are fully insured by Lloyd's of London. Transactions are securely and privately made inside its own platform. Yes, transactions are privately done, again, within its own system, with its own trust. Paperback records are made daily in case of cyber attacks. Next screen. Here are some of the advantages of specifically gold backs. You physically own it, you can physically spend it, you can vault it, you can load it on a debit card or lease it. Gold backs are 24 karat gold. Understanding its value is gold backs are more than just spot gold because it's usable, fungible, tradable, 24 karat gold. It's a usable currency, like a car is usable. It's worth more than the melt price of a car, but the car's drivable. So the gold backs have a currency value that has an exchange rate. And that exchange rate has been consistently going up with the price of gold. So as gold goes up, gold backs go up proportionately. It's never been counterfeited. If you heard, in contrast, gold and silver has been counterfeited and always is a concern from anyone buying it. You can use gold backs with confidence as it is a free market currency. It also has so many security features built in. Each bill is serialized and has a cryptographic key. With a jeweler's glass, you can see this beauty within this which these are made. Gold backs, again, are tested by third-party X-ray and fire assay confirming that it has the proper weight of 24 karat gold. In a world heading to the CBDC, this is your hedge, not only to be part of their social credit system, which is control and bondage. So don't be part of this system. You are your own sovereign system, and that sovereignty comes from God the Creator. You can't have a free market society without a free market currency. Only sound money is the solution, and gold backs are a solid vessel. It is untraceable, it's fungible, usable, stable, sound money cash. As mentioned, gold backs are currently accepted as legal currency in 5 states: Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, South Dakota, and New Hampshire. When I was in New Hampshire, I couldn't believe how many businesses were taking gold backs as currency. You can go to the store and buy things with it. Amazing. I believe in Texas is also in the works. As of this past year, 23 states moved to recognize gold and silver as legal tender, with more states to follow this year on this movement. Now, here's the disadvantages of the gold back. Well, I literally can't think of one. And if you can, I hope you ask the person that's coming after me. His name is Adam. You can ask him any questions that you have. So before I turn this over to Adam from the New Hampshire office, I want to say thank you for your attention. Let's stand for financial freedom. Let's stand for liberty. I pray that God blesses each and every one of you and that God continues to bless America. Now, one last thing. And Steve, you can put that last slide up, 30 it is. There it is. I want to urge you to please use your cameras and scan the QR code to set up an account. If you don't want to take out your camera now, in the back, we have a table set up where you can take 2 minutes to scan that code, set up a free account, and you can get in the system. In that system, again, you can use it to put your house within a trust, and you can use that to just start funding an account and start protecting your assets. Also, and there's a sheet in the back. I'm asking you to humbly take 1 minute and give us your email address to receive more information. Basically a guide on how to navigate and protect your hard-earned money. Again, this is a private group and your email will never be shared with anyone. Your privacy is something that is treated with the utmost of respect and taken very seriously. Adam at the fine folks at the Alpine Gold and UPMA are leaders and innovators that can help preserve your hard-earned money and wealth. I'm sure if you need to contact him, tell him that you're a member of the folding chairs and he will take good care of you. Now, I'm an herbalist and a natural healer, not a financial advisor. So before presenting this great group, I needed to vet this. I vetted this for some time now. I've used a lease, transferred funds, and watched it work perfectly. I personally have taken assets, this, and transferred and utilize this as sound money. I've traveled to New Hampshire several times, met and sat down with Adam and Bill from the UPMA. I met Adam's family as of recent. At the Freedom Festival, I met with the CEO of Alpine Gold, Mark Hilton, and spent all day and evening with him, broke bread with him, even at the dinner presentation of the mayor of Tennessee, Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane from the WWE. I've spoken with the top people in Utah and finally was approved to welcome this as an authorized partner to you. Genuinely, I think this is one-of-a-kind product, solution-based platform. So let me turn this over to Adam, as he will be able to give you greater details and answer all your questions. I pray that God blesses each and every one of you, and God continues to bless America. Adam, welcome to the folding chairs. All yours.
Thank you very much. For those of you who would like to contact me directly, if you have a pen and paper, it's area code 603-836-8814. That will dial our branch specifically, and we can help you guys out in any way we can with any further questions that you have after the presentation. So the elevator pitch is quite simple. At the Alpine Gold Exchange, we are the service managers for the UPMA, the United Precious Metals Association, and the United Precious Metals Association is 56,000 members strong, and we provide, the UPMA provides similar services to what traditional banks offer, only we do it with gold and silver. You can deposit, withdraw, transfer from member to member. You can put your wealth into an interest-bearing account. You can also put your wealth into a gold IRA and enjoy the tax benefits of that program. You can also get a debit card that you can load your gold onto a debit card, and you can spend your gold anywhere where Visa is accepted. So we really tried to provide tools for our members to be able to liquidate and use the gold and silver that they use to preserve their wealth in a convenient and in a convenient manner, so that it's effortless and I guess, you know, familiar to everyone. You know, so we really brought stacking and investing precious metals into the mainstream and made it convenient. Our primary goal here, our moral mission, is to bring sound money back to the American people, back to our neighbors and our communities and individuals, so that they have the opportunity to store their wealth in precious metals, in sound money, and be able to, you know, use it as a hedge against inflation is really what it comes down to. So the history of gold and silver is pretty simple. It's been around for 5,000 years. It's never been worth nothing. And from the last 5,000 years to present, it's always increased in value. It's recognized internationally in all countries throughout history. You have been able to use gold and silver to preserve your wealth and be able to spend your wealth and grow it, you know, through the millennium. So we're just doing what's always been done is what we're doing. And we've now created a system so that everyday people, common man, our local communities can engage in these transactions themselves simply and effectively and efficiently. And that's really all there is to it. The UPMA is a no-cost membership. We try to keep everything on the platform either at no cost or low cost. So once you get into the higher levels of trading and spending, the threshold is $10,000 in a month. Once you get above that, there are some fees. And the reason why is because at some point we have to get somebody else involved and a person has to do something. These are physical metals that we're dealing with. And at some point, you know, someone has to start, you know, double checking accounts, double checking amounts, and we've just decided that, you know, 10,000 is that threshold. And so once you get above 10,000, the fees are very moderate. There's nothing that's going to break the bank, and it's just a way in order for us to operate business and provide the services that we can to people that need it. Is what it is. But for the most part, we try to keep everything either at no cost or low cost, and we're just trying to get sound money out there so that people can protect their wealth. And that's really it. Everything else, Ron has just done an amazing job with this presentation. All the details, the motivational speeches that he referenced, and just his overall charisma has just been outstanding. So big round of applause to Ron. He's done just a fabulous job. Many thanks. And from there, I mean, I can just open it up to questions.
All right, who has a question?
You guys want to ask?
All right, we have Bill has a question. I knew Bill would have a question. Lower this a little.
Yeah, where does the 3.5% interest get generated to get paid out?
I only heard part of that.
Where does the 3.5% interest get generated to pay out?
How does the 3.5% interest get generated to pay out?
Where does it?
Where does it? Well, what we do is when you enter into a lease, and the lease is scaled. It's a scaled interest rate. It starts at 2%, and then the more you invest, you can get it up to 3.5%. Generally speaking, there. But what we do is you lease your gold to us, and we take your gold and we sell it, and then we take the proceeds from that sale and we buy more raw bullion, which is called gold shot, and we buy more gold so that we can make more gold backs. And the way that we manage that is we have a surplus account that covers all of the leases, and we also are buying more gold with it. So we're never leveraged. All the gold is always accounted for, and we use this extra account in order to keep everything backed up. So even, you know, in the worst case scenario, all the gold is always covered all the time. We have 100% of the gold that all of our members have, even in the leases, and it's all in the vault and it's accounted for 3 times a year, and those audits are available to members. And additionally, we are 100% insured by the Lloyd's of London. Those documents are also available for members upon request, and that's how we generate the extra funds for the interest.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Adam.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Adam, this is Joe. Thank you. So, how exactly are you making money? Like, how do you guys make money?
Well, that's a very good question. So, the Alpine Gold Exchange is a licensed precious metals dealer. We buy, sell, trade gold, silver, gold bullion, and gold backs as a distributor. We are the #1 distributor for Goldback. We're actually a subsidiary of Goldback. Goldback is the parent company. We're the subsidiary, and we're the distribution. We're the distribution leg for Goldback. So we're the #1 distributor, and we do sell gold coins, silver coins, and of course gold backs. We also have several suppliers that we work with, and so we're also supplying distributors and other suppliers and people like that on a wholesale network, and that's how Alpine Gold Exchange gets the funds to operate, and that's more or less, that's how we get paid.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll be there in 2 seconds. Hannah first.
So I apologize, I came late, so I don't know if you've answered this already, but regarding the gold backs, I understand there are 5 states that will allow them to be used, and each state has their own design. Do you have a specific design that's, or is there any kind of sense of harmonization where everybody will ultimately have the same type of design at some point?
That's an excellent question, and a very unique question as well. So the states that are represented are states that have legal tender laws in place. If you want to know your own state's legal tender law, you can find it usually under the Secretary of State. You can find it under the UCC, which is the Uniform Commercial Code, and it's typically Article 3 and Article 4. That's where you can review your state's own legal tender law. And the states that are represented are states that have gold-friendly legislation in place so that gold can be traded as a currency without penalty. And that's why those states have been selected by Goldback and to be represented by Goldback. And the artwork itself is unique to each state. They actually have a very dynamic system for creating the artwork where they send the artist to the state, sometimes for 3 to 6 months, and they explore those states and they experience the culture of those states, and they develop their artwork based off of their experience in the state. So when you look at a Goldback in detail, the foreground are landmarks and usually some sort of imagery or landmarks of things inside the state, state capitals, or like in my case, we have the New Hampshire state logo, live free or die, and they put things like that in the foreground, and in the background are actual places, actual landmarks inside the state where the artists have went and visited. So on our 25 Goldback in New Hampshire, it's got the Kangamangas Highway and one of the famous overlooks, which is Hancock Overlook, and it has maple tree and the maple taps and the buckets on the tree. So each Goldback actually has the representation from those states, and it's developed over time with the artists actually in state. So every state will always be unique. Each Goldback is, for practical purposes, traded exactly the same. A single Goldback in New Hampshire versus a single Goldback in Utah, they're all one 1,000th of an ounce of gold, and they're all traded as 1/1000th of an ounce of gold. The artwork is just a tribute to the states that are friendly towards gold and silver trades and legal tender.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you. We have another question here.
Yeah, hi Adam. Can you take gold or silver coins that are slabbed and graded and deposit them?
Absolutely, you can. We accept all forms of gold and silver. We do it by weight, so any numismatic value is not going to be accounted for. If you have something that's particularly rare or has some sort of historical value, we're simply going to take it as weight value. But absolutely, we take all forms of gold and silver. We do have a process for it. It's not necessarily a quick process, because it's physical gold. We have to take it in, we have to assay it, we have to catalog it, and then what we do is we provide you with an estimate. We provide you with an estimate so that you can make a wise apples decision on if you want to deposit it or if you want to sell it outright. And that's done as a service to you at no cost. We just try to get the best possible pricing for liquidation, and then we try to organize it in such a way that you get the most benefit from it. And then, if you decide to use our deposit services, that's fine. We're happy to help you out with that. But if you also find someone who has a better price, then we encourage you to take the better price, because we we're only doing it for you as a customer service. So it's no skin up our back if you have a better buyer.
Okay, Adam, we have a few more here.
Yeah, Adam, I'm thinking of 3 letters in the alphabet, and they are not BMW, it's IRS. If I send you money from my checking account, is the IRS privy to that? And what happens, am I have to pay capital gains?
All right, that's an excellent question. So for all tax-related questions, it's definitely best to consult with your tax professional. But more or less, the process for depositing metals from your bank account will go to our escrow service, which is Legal Tender Services. And that Legal Tender Services escrow account will accept the payment and deposit it into the UPMA on your behalf. And from that transaction on your UPMA account, we will provide you with a statement of any deposits or transactions that take place, and what you do with those statements is your business.
Good answer. We have one more here.
And furthermore, I can add a little bit more to that answer. The Legal Tender Services is also your representation if the IRS does come knocking and asking any questions. If they come to Legal Tender Services and start asking questions about your membership, they're very good at writing letters in extensive detail and using all kinds of legal language. They essentially tell anybody asking questions about your account to go pound sand.
Love it. Here we go, another one, Adam.
Hey Dylan, so we know 5 states already use the gold back, and it looks like Texas is another one currently, possibly next in line. Are there any other states that you know of?
Absolutely. So this year we're hoping to have Idaho and Texas get launched. I mean, we really are. I'm putting my money on Idaho. I think they're going to be next because they're really aggressive about it. So they're going to have a wonderful and beautiful gold back. But don't put Texas out of the running yet, because everything's bigger in Texas, and they're going to be trying to get that next spot as well. As far as future endeavors, we have several states that are working on it. Tennessee has passed legal tender legislation, and they're going to have a repository at a state level. So from a state level, they'll be able to accept, buy, sell, trade gold at a state level. And so they're going to be in line for a gold back. I know that there is a program started for Florida. Florida is going to be a huge program because the population density of Florida is so dense that it's going to take a massive effort to get Florida launched. But I do know that there are efforts underway there. I know that Montana is another friendly state. We're also working with Citizens for Sound Money, who goes around lobbying for friendly legislation. They're working very hard in Missouri right now to get legislation passed to make Missouri a more friendly state. And once those efforts are met, then Missouri will definitely be a consideration. And I think Vermont is a consideration as well, but Vermont is a unique situation where there's only like 80 or 90 people that live there anyway. So they have a couple tax hurdles to get over, but they'll have a relatively low bar once they get those little details worked out.
Adam, there's a question here. In New York, how would people be able to use, let's say, gold backs? And I just basically was thinking that, you can use gold backs basically on a debit card if you wanted to. Can you think of any other ways for people to use it in New York?
Absolutely. So essentially, you're allowed to use any manner of barter and trade that you wish with anybody that's willing to barter and trade with you. Now, your barter law in that state may have some sort of regulations you have to follow. I don't know what New York has, but gold and silver can be traded with anyone who wants it. So I keep them in my wallet, and anytime I go to pay cash for anything, my first question is, do you accept gold for payment? And many times people say yes, they accept gold for payment. And I just make my payment with gold right there. And we have a little negotiation. They're interested to know how much it's worth and so forth. And then we just kind of negotiate a little deal right there. And I do that everywhere I go. I was in New York a week ago, and I made a small transaction, just a couple dollars for some stuff inside a gift shop. But right there, I made it a trade. So it can really be traded with whomever you're trading with is where it can be traded from. And there's also we're going to start developing a better map. You can go to goldback.com right now and look up featured businesses, and you can see the states that are already carrying goldbacks. They have a merchant map of hundreds of people, that maybe even thousands at this point. I know there's hundreds in New Hampshire of businesses that are already accepting gold and silver as payment. And now Alpine Gold is going to start developing a more comprehensive map for all the states and all the businesses that are accepting gold and silver as payment. So hopefully in the coming year, we'll have an actual resource where you can look that up and find businesses that are accepting gold back as payment everywhere.
Perfect, Adam, thank you. We have another question. I'm going to try to keep these short so you can answer. A lot of people have their hands up, and we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah, no, this sounds great. You may have already answered my question, but not in specifics. There's the 5 states that already, take the goldbacks. Specifically, within these 5 states, do they accept on any specific level the goldback of another state? And if not, is there thoughts on, how this can occur? It sounds like some of what I'm asking you've already, kind of talked about, but can you be a little bit more detailed in relation to those specific questions?
Sure. So the goldback is more or less the design. Gold is gold, and the goldback is 1/1000th of an ounce of gold, and it can be traded anywhere where gold is accepted at the value of what that goldback is. It's not state specific. The state design is just a tribute to that state. They can be traded anywhere and interchanged between states and anywhere in the world.
Okay, Adam, one more quick question here.
Sure.
Yeah, this is Joe again. My question is about the IRA, right? So you said that you do IRAs, right?
That's right.
From my understanding, if you do a metals IRA, the metals in that IRA have to be of a certain type of metal, right? It can't be numismatic metals. It has to be a certain grade, I believe, in carat, in order for it to be recognized by the IRS. Is that right?
That's correct. Inside our gold IRAs, everything we use is a 24 karat pure gold. We use a gold eagle, a gold buffalo, and gold backs. Every now and then we'll have some silver leases open up, but those aren't very common. But we have gold leases all the time, and they are of the purity because we use those 3 types of gold, and gold back is a bullion, so it does meet the requirements. So everything that gets deposited on your account, as far as UPMA is concerned, everything's going to get converted into gold back, gold buffalo, or gold eagle.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question here.
Is there a silver version of this? And my second question is, do they come in different denominations? Like instead of 1/1000th, is there like 10 1,000th and 100th? Okay.
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, they do come in 1s, 5s, 10s, 25s, and 50s. And we do have a silverback. However, we can't use the silverback as a currency because it would be disingenuous. The amount of silver that it takes to create a silverback is only about 3 cents worth of silver, but we do have a silverback, and it's really just a collector's item. The collector's market got very loud and made it very clear that they wanted a silverback. So Goldback does produce a silverback. They make about 100,000 of them every year, and then they're sold as collector's items. They're not really the type of currency that a Goldback is. And the reason why is because we already have coins, and they work just fine. We have constitutional, we have other silver coins, other silver rounds, and silver bars. So really having a silverback as a currency isn't really necessary. And then on top of that, it would be disingenuous to have, a 5,000% markup just on a few cents worth of silver that's inside the silverback.
Perfect. One more question here.
Sure. Are you guys using or entertaining the use of blockchain technology to keep track of transactions?
Absolutely. You can use BitShares, which is a trading platform for crypto. You can take your gold and you can exchange it onto your BitShares account, where you can then convert your gold into various types of crypto. We do have a crypto that is backed by, it's not backed by gold, it's a representation of the gold that's in the bank. It's called Quintric. You can learn more about that at quintric.com. That is in development. That is, you can buy some on the BitShares exchange, but that, is still in development. But absolutely, crypto technology, gold, I think they call those gold asset-backed crypto is what they are. And there's, inside all the legislation that we're getting passed in all the states, there's always some sort of a crypto clause in there. Now, I'm not the crypto guy, I'm the gold guy, I'm the UPMA services guy, but that option is definitely out there, and you can learn about that at Quintric, and you can also buy those on the BitShares exchange, and the BitShares exchange has lots of different cryptos that you can exchange in your gold into.
Who else? Okay. I'll be there in 1 second. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're gonna go the speed round now. I'm getting the looks here.
How can you tell how much your gold back is worth day to day?
Oh, that's a good question. So you can go to goldback.com and you can see the daily exchange rate there. That is more or less, that's more of a national average on what it's been being traded for. And then you can also see your member rate from our exchange. The UPMA is also an exchange. It's a member-to-member exchange. And on that dashboard, there's a chart that shows you, where it's ended every single day. And you can see how it goes up and how it goes down. And you can see the daily member rate is posted right there every day as well. And that's lower than the average exchange rate. So the average exchange is obviously an average, but that's the more or less, daily average.
Any other question? Yeah, hold on. Question, hold on. Go ahead.
So the value vacillates, so it's not like $1 is worth a gold back. It's
No, dollar, I can answer that one really quick. Basically, it's tied to the value of gold. So as gold goes up, the gold back goes up. As gold goes down, the gold back goes down. So it's really gold. It is physical, 24-karat gold.
That's right. I'd like to add a little bit to that. If we look at the history of gold and precious metals in general, 60 years ago, you were able to buy a home with 156 gold coins. And today, you can buy that same home with the same 156 gold coins. It's not that the value of assets has changed. The value of your home is the same, the value of eggs are the same, the value of gold is the same. The only thing that's actually changing is the value of the money over time. And what that does is it goes down in value over time. And so it's not so much that the gold is changing in value, it's that the money is changing, the dollars are changing in value in comparison to physical assets. Another example is 60 years ago you could buy a house for 136,000 eggs. And the same house you can buy today for 136,000 eggs. Now, the value of eggs didn't change, but the price of eggs did because the value of money went down.
Okay, anyone else?
Sure. Yeah, so as the price of gold fluctuates, there has to be some validation between trading partners where they can see, I think this bill is worth, $5, let's say. There has to be some sort of instant validation with the trading partner on the spot. And how do you handle that?
The way I handle it is I handle it in that negotiation in that moment. Now I'm well versed in gold. I trade and barter gold. I trade and barter other products. I trade and barter labor. I've been a tradesman for 30 years. I was a general contractor and a carpenter for 30 years. So bartering and trading has always been something I've been into, and I've always exercised. And so I determine the value of that gold back at the time of that exchange. So I might be talking to someone who's light in gold right now and they want more gold. Well, they may be, more interested in trading me a larger amount of their product or a smaller amount of my gold, depending on just their need for gold. In another situation, I may be dealing with someone who's really heavy in gold. And they may be interested in only trading me at, $3.50 per gold back, whereas the other person was trading me at $6 per gold back. It all depends on the situation and the negotiation that takes place at the time of the trade. But as far as on the other side of that coin, merchants typically, they just go with the daily exchange rate that's on the goldback.com website, and they use that as a base of reference. And so there's also a calculator on goldback.com. You can just click on the calculator, and it's very simple. You can put in how much you owe, and it'll say how much you owe in gold bags, how much you owe in paper dollars, how many gold bags you paid, and
So
what the balance is.
It's basically exchange rate.
Most merchants just do it that way.
All right, it's exchange rate. This is our last question, Adam.
Sure.
Adam, what happens if, let's say, the grid goes down or comms go down and we can't access our gold except for the gold backs that we have on hand? What happens then?
Well, that's a great question. We do have a plan for that. We lovingly call it our Armageddon plan. And what we do, if everything goes down and we're unable to communicate electronically, then we still do everything analog. Even though we have a digital interface, every request that comes in for an exchange, a person does that. So if we don't have comms, you can still write us a letter. If you can get some sort of communication to us with the appropriate account information on it, we can do exchanges through the mail. We do have people that do not use electronics at all, and they mail us letters for deposit and withdraw and exchange and so forth. And we execute those in analog fashion, manually for those members. Now, if something enormous were to happen, we would ship all the gold. As long as we have shipping lines open, we're going to ship the gold. If we can't ship the gold, then if you can make it to one of our vaults, then you can just withdraw the gold. If you can make it to New Hampshire, you can withdraw your account there. South Dakota, Provo, Ogden, and of course the main vault in Alpine, Utah. If you can make it there, you can withdraw.
Awesome, Adam. Thank you. Thank you, everyone here. If there's any more questions, you can contact Adam directly, and he will be good with that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can call me anytime.